Today we're going to be redesigning WebMD, a really cool service that helps you figure out what might be wrong with you given a list of systems. Now I happen to be the world's biggest hypochondriac, so I love sites like this, but their site is unfortunately a little bit lacking in the design department. Here we can see it just kind of feels like a late 2000s kind of design with a kind of broken visual hierarchy. So we're going to fix it. Here's the style guide we pulled from their site, just sampling all their colors, and we're going to be using Public Sans, which is one of my favorite kind of fun but modern sans fonts. Really professional looking. Let's get in there and see what we come up with. We've redesigned hundreds of site navigations on this channel. I'm not going to make you sit through another one. Let's just skip to the fun part. I spend the vast majority of my time in this redesign trying to get the homepage hero just right, and I don't necessarily think that's a problem. The homepage hero is where people spend the majority of their time browsing sites like these, so it really should be captivating. Initially, I wanted to start with some nice image flair. They kind of implied you were on a healthcare website that had a lot of articles on it, but then I kind of changed my mind and ended up putting the WebMD form in the right-hand side anyway, since that's what most people come to the site to use. If a visitor to WebMD isn't interested in interacting with the symptom checker explicitly, I wanted to give them kind of a content repository where they could just learn more about how to be a healthy human generally. So here we're just showing a really basic articles list with one featured article. Nothing fancy here. The bulk of the value in this redesign is going to be in the homepage, which we're going to come back to later in the redesign. Here you're looking at attempt number 2 for the homepage hero here, where we're really just trying to showcase what it could look like if you were having a conversation with the symptom checker, kind of implying in an abstract way that the purpose of WebMD is to ask questions and get answers. Sometimes when a section is giving you lots of trouble in a design, it often makes sense to get a context reset by just switching to another design problem for a while. And here, I want to explore the idea of giving the user a clear and modern way of selecting a particular category, which could then filter the view of articles that they're looking at. Kind of a way to customize their experience of browsing the site to a particular category. Still trying to distract myself from redesigning this homepage hero a third time, I'm now building the newsletter block. And here we're opting for a much simpler, just modern take on a newsletter call to action, where we're having one big hero image and then a simple value proposition to the right, explaining what kind of value users are going to get out of this newsletter, alongside a simple little name and email form. Nothing crazy here, just nice and clean. And since folks that are opting to use a site like WebMD are probably in the market to talk to a healthcare professional, it kind of makes sense to show some nearby local doctors that are available to help them with their healthcare needs. So here we're showing a lovely little profile card with a doctor's image in it, and a lot of metadata in that card to help users pick the right doctor for them. Alright, and now we're taking our third and final stab at this homepage hero. As I mentioned at the start, most people that come to this website are really looking to just get some symptoms diagnosed through the symptom checker, right? So instead of forcing users to go to a separate page to do that, why don't we just let them do it in context here? At this point, I'm realizing that the homepage hero is doing a little bit too much with the visualization here. So instead of trying to distract users with the flair and the form, we're just moving the form to replace the flair and adding the visual flair to the background and subduing it with some opacity. And of course, for any sort of web service, and particularly health services, you really want to hit home trust somewhere in the homepage hero. So here we're adding some logos of trusted resources that users will probably recognize. For the sake of this demo, I'm just using bank logos, but you can imagine this would be something like Blue Cross Blue Shield or Aetna or common healthcare brands in America. But now the homepage hero looks a little bit stale. It just looks like a robotic form. So we're adding that image flare back into the UI, but subduing it into the background so it doesn't pull too much visual attention. Alright, there we go. I think this is a much more usable version of WebMD. In particular, I think the hero really does what we want it to do. We quickly explain the value proposition, why you would want to use something like WebMD, hit them with a little bit of trust, and then get them straight into the symptom checker, which is really the primary reason people use WebMD. We've also got a little category filter here and some popular articles, but this is quite generic. There's nothing particularly special about this. And a little section here to find a local doctor, if that makes sense for you. But ultimately, here's where the value is, and I think this does a much better job than the existing UI. But let me know what you think. Hit me up with a comment below with your thoughts, and hope you enjoyed this one, folks. Take care.